In a major development today, Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz's centrist party has proposed holding a vote to dissolve parliament in a bid to bring about an early election. That's what his party has said today in a statement released earlier this evening. Could Israel have an election in the midst of the raging war in Gaza? That is a million-dollar question. Meanwhile, what's the plan for day after tomorrow? That's the question US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the Biden administration's top diplomat, has posed to Israel as the Israel-Hamas war rages on for the 8th month, wreaking widespread havoc in the Gaza Strip. Significantly, Blinken has asked Israel to spell out its post-war plan for Gaza soon after the Israel Defense Forces stated that the war was likely to continue for at least another 7 months. Blinken also described as horrific the images of burning tents and charred bodies that emerged on Sunday after Israel's airstrikes on a camp for displaced Palestinians in Rafah that left 45 people, including women, children and elderly, dead. Meanwhile, Israel's military has said it has taken control of the strategically important buffer zone along the Gaza-Egypt border known as the Philadelphi Corridor, meaning it now controls Gaza's entire land border. A spokesperson for the Israel Defense Forces said about 20 tunnels used by Hamas to smuggle weapons into Gaza had been found within the zone. Egyptian television quoted sources denying this and said Israel was trying to justify its military operation in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari has said that forces had established operational control of the Philadelphi Corridor. He described the area as a lifeline for Hamas through which the group regularly smuggled weapons into the Gaza Strip. He said troops were investigating and neutralizing tunnels found in the area. The Philadelphi Corridor is a buffer zone only about 100 meters wide in parts, which runs along the Gaza side of the 13-kilometer border with Egypt. Gaza's only other land border is with Israel itself. Egypt has previously said it had destroyed cross-border tunnels, making any weapons smuggling impossible. Tensions between Egypt and Israel have heightened since Israeli forces took control of the Gazan side of the Rafah crossing point 3 weeks ago. Earlier this week, an Egyptian soldier was killed in an incident involving Egyptian and Israeli troops in the border area near Rafah. Egypt is a strong supporter of the Palestinians and has condemned Israel's military campaign in Gaza and the killing of thousands of civilians by Israel in the war. Israel insists it must take Rafah to achieve victory in the war against Hamas, triggered by Hamas's unprecedented attack on the country on the 7th of October, during which about 1,200 people were killed and 252 others were taken hostage. At least 36,000 people have been killed across Gaza since the beginning of the conflict, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. In other related developments, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has removed his ambassador to Israel from his post and sent him to serve as his special representative in Geneva amid a diplomatic spat between the two countries. The row was triggered a few months ago when Lula likened Israel's war in Gaza to the Holocaust. A French lawmaker who was sanctioned for raising a Palestinian flag in the French National Assembly has now said he would rather be on the right side of history than stick to the rules of the National Assembly.